I'm now very delighted to open up this EUROBIKE convention with a keynote by the Deputy Mayor of Lyon, who's in charge for mobility and public space. He will kick off the convention by mentioning and introducing Lyon's smart city development. I'm excited that he is here. Please welcome the next speaker with a warm round of applause, Valentin, Lugenstrass.
Hello, everybody, ladies and gentlemen, meine Damen und Herren. Very warm thank you for the welcome here at EUROBIKE. It is very special for us in Lyon to be present here at this amazing EUROBIKE event. I will talk indeed about bike, of course, but as a green elected official, of course, I will first say more things, and especially because bikes are, of course, part of a bigger spectrum, a bigger picture, and I think that is important to stress out here today. We are, of course, in a situation of climate change, of climate emergency. We really have something to deal with the transport sector. 30% of the greenhouse gas emissions of the transport sector, of the global greenhouse gases, are due to the transport sector. I think it is very important to stress that out. But what is very positive also is that we have actually the most perspectives, the most positive perspectives also in this transport sector to reach our goals. And I think this is very positive for us. In Lyon, we really want to push forward public policies that are in line with the climate trajectories. We actually did candidate to the European Commission's 100 Climate Neutral Cities program. And so we call our program Lyon 2030 to really show that our public policies want to be in line with climate trajectories, both on mitigation, of course, but also on adaptation of our city. And we see it nowadays with very hot temperatures that we have in Lyon, but I think it is also the case here in Frankfurt nowadays. What is important is public policies, of course, but not only. It is also important to really embark everyone on this journey. And this is why we launched something that we call Agora 2030, where businesses, private organizations actually take part in this venue, commit to really ambitious goals also on this climate trajectory. That was something very important for our mayor, Grégory Doucet, for our president of the metropolis, Bruno Bernard, to really embark also the private sector in this journey. We have a very bold program on the mobility transition. It is very important for me to stress that out today. We are investing from 2020 to 2026, 2.5 billion euros to invest in public transport. This is actually 3 new tramway lines in 6 years. It is 1 new high-speed bus line in 6 years. It is renewing 40% of the bus fleet of the Lyon public transport network, and it is also finishing the extent of a metro line that is currently underway. We are really pushing this because public transport is, of course, in the center of the mobility transition. And we are also pushing things on prices so that prices are taking into account the social reality so that they can be lowered also depending on the social situation. Of course, there is bikes. We are today here at EUROBIKE, so we are developing bike infrastructure. We actually launched a new program. We are investing 280 million euros also in these 6 years to build a new super cycling network, which we call Les Voies Lyonnaises. It's 250 kilometers until 2026 of comfortable, secured bike paths all over the metropolis. You see here the map of our Voies Lyonnaises system. It is really 12 lines that can permit everyone to come across the entire metropolis and to permit everyone to get on a bike in a secured way. It is really one of the major parts for us in Lyon and one of the major demands that inhabitants have. But of course, in public space, there's also other things that need to take place. We are investing a lot in school streets, in greening the city, of course, part of an adaptation program that was mentioned just before, because we have to be bold on adaptation also, because climate change is underway. We are investing 200 million euros on this greening and school streets program. because I want to stress something that is very important to me. The mobility transition has its own goals, of course, climate change, air pollution, safety, but actually it's also a tool to free up public space for other things in public space. We need space in cities that are already made for greening. We need space for school streets. We need space for playgrounds. And actually, the mobility transition, giving more space for walking, for cycling, for buses, is also a tool to give more space for these opportunities. I talked about, of course, bike infrastructure with our Voie Lyonnaise network, but we have to do so much more about bikes so that they really become the first means of transport in our region. And so this is, of course, about bike services. Bike services is parking, on-street parking, but it's also secured parking. It's also repair shops all over the city. It's even coffee shops that can integrate repair shops and repair services. We actually inaugurated one very recently. But it's so much more also, and taking into account the social situation of people. We are a very student city. We have 180,000 students in our city. And this is why we launched Free Velov. Velov is our shared bike system in Lyon. And Free Velov, it's 10,000 refurbished bikes that are rented out for free for several months or for a year to students so that they have a means of mobility and without, of course, needing them to give out money, which is very scarce in student situation. This is one program that we put out, and we're already at 2,000 bikes that are being rented out for free to these students. Another initiative that I could mention is Cargo Velov, which is a collaboration between JC Decaux and Cargo, so that we have cargo bikes also in a shared way in public space, which is something that is very important for us also, and we see there is demand for that. And last but not least, very importantly in our economic sector and in our economic strategy is the bike industry, of course. We have currently more than 110 companies in the industry, in services around the bike business. We have 630 jobs that are being created in Lyon and around Lyon on this industry and on these services. We already have 47 industrial companies that are in the bike sector. And 1 year ago, we have something very special that happened in Lyon. The Active Mobility Cara cluster launched Grand Plateau, which is an 8,000 square meter industrial site, actually, which is hosting 19 companies in the industry, in services. And this means assembling, this means refurbishing, this means designing or building accessories. It means hosting services for cycle logistics. All these things actually find themselves in this very special venue. And the private businesses that launched this want to go even further with a program that is called Usine à Vélo, Bike Factory, where it is really a mutualized tool for sharing skills, sharing industrial tools, so that six bike assembling companies which put together this program actually have the aim to build 15,000 bikes a year in the future. This is really our vision for Lyon. It is about acting on the mobility transition. It's about acting on the economy. It's about really developing all of these things, and it's about really pushing forward public policies that are in line with the climate trajectories. I think that is something we share with a lot of our partner cities. And it is, as I said, about creating a whole new economy. It's about creating a whole new industry, creating whole new services. That is very important. And it is true for Lyon, of course, but it is true in many other cities. And even in our region, in Lyon, we want to really help cities that are around us to benefit from this bike industry boom, from this bike services boom. Cities like Saint-Étienne, like Clermont-Ferrand, like Grenoble, but also cities like Vienne or Bourg-en-Bresse. We want them also to benefit from the bike industry so that actually manufacturing, assembling can also be implemented in these cities, in Lyon, but also around Lyon. This is about creating sustainable jobs. It's about creating jobs that make sense, which is very important nowadays. And it's about creating businesses that are in line also with climate action. This is our vision for Lyon, economy and mobility transition in a bold way. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Valentin.